Welcome to Season 2 of my podcast. You are listening to the Things Nobody Tells You About with Marthy Cherubin. This podcast is about the unspoken things in pregnancy, labor, and postnatal that nobody tells prospective mothers, parents, and or childbearing age women about. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the last chapter of Emmy's story. Emmy is a first-time mother who was tested positive for COVID-19 when she was 36 weeks pregnant with her baby. Due to the COVID-19 diagnosis, Emmy's delivery was unusually traumatic and her eventual postnatal care at the hospital was non-existent. Her newborn, who was tested negative twice for COVID-19, was severely neglected in the NICU and was still treated as if she was positive for COVID-19. Here's what happened after Emmy finally took her baby home from the hospital. Emmy, what happened after you took the baby home? And did you experience any postpartum depression? Postpartum depression is a serious but treatable medical illness involving feelings of extreme sadness, indifference, and or anxiety, as well as changes in energy, sleep, and appetite. It carries risks for the mother and the child. Up to 70% of all new mothers experience what they call the baby blues. It's a short-lasting condition that doesn't interfere with daily activities and doesn't require medical attention. Symptoms of this emotional condition may include crying for no reason, irritability, restlessness, and anxiety. These symptoms last a week or two and generally resolve on their own without treatment. However, if they persist, you need to reach out to a mental health care professional for help.
Well, it was nonstop crying because I was crying every other minute. Even had to tell my mother, I had to tell her it's because of the hormones. So even if you see me crying, it's not because, I'm crying for this issue or that issue. It's just I can't help it. I had to explain it to her because I felt like it was affecting her because she started crying as well because she felt helpless. She didn't know how to help me. So I was crying. I was not eating really. And I wasn't sleeping. I was also having the symptoms of the COVID at this point. It was hitting me hard where I could barely breathe. And they were telling me not to lay on your back. You had to lay on your belly when you have COVID. But I couldn't lay on my belly. I just had a C-section.
Yes.
So here I am. I'm trying to lay on my side, but I'm not very comfortable. So I had to be like, okay, which one am I going to do here? I had to lay on my back. That's the only way I was comfortable. But then I had to keep getting back up and then I could barely breathe. When I'm coughing, I'm holding my belly with the pillow to not cough too hard, to not sneeze too hard. And then I'm barely able to breathe. So I was going through all of this.
Wow. It seems like you were going through postpartum depression, and to make matters worse, you started to experience severe COVID-19 symptoms?
Yes.
That must have been extremely hard, especially while trying to take care of a newborn.
Yes.
At this point, we know that the baby has been tested negative for COVID-19. So how were you protecting her from getting the virus from you?
So once the baby was released to me, that's around the time that I wasn't breathing that good.
Mm-hmm.
So I had her. And at this point, my mother had also contracted COVID-19.
Oh my goodness. Did she get it from you?
I think so. I think she did. because she was the one taking care of me. And when it hit her hard. It hit her like in the middle of the night, she just collapsed.
Wow. Did she pass out?
Yeah, she collapsed. And we had to like rush to her, bathe her, and like trying to bring her back and stuff. The moment it hit her, she was down and she was down for good. I didn't have help anymore.
Wow.
Here I am, I have the baby, and I'm the only one that can take care of her at this point. My mom has the virus as well. So she's kind of isolated on the other side of the house. And I'm like isolated in this room by myself with the baby. So I'm the only one taking care of her. And I cannot really leave the room because once I leave the room, I'm in the area where my mom is at.
So, if your mom was out of commission and you were both quarantined on different sides of the house, then who was feeding you?
So at this point, it was my auntie that lives in a studio that my mom has behind the house that was bringing us food, that was bringing us like the teas she was making, the steams and all the stuff for the COVID that we had to be taking. My auntie was doing all of that for us.
Well,
She
that's
was
good.
coming in.
That's
So
good that you had
once,
somebody there to do that.
yes, my auntie was doing that.
I know that you were staying at your mother's house after you were discharged from the hospital, but did your boyfriend get the coronavirus as well?
Yes, he got the virus as well. And then he couldn't come. He couldn't come to see the baby. For like a whole week, he didn't come. And when he came, he just came with a mask on. So the whole team that was supposed to be taking care of her were all down at this point.
Wow.
My mom is down. I have the COVID. And my auntie is helping me. She comes in with a mask on. And guess what? She had COVID at this time too, but she's just asymptomatic.
Wow.
She's taking care of us. And I'm barely able to breathe. So I took the mask off and I said, she's in the hand of God. And I'm just taking care of her in this room by myself. I would put the mask on and take it off, put it on, take it off. I did the best I could. 2 weeks
Did she?
later,
Mhm.
she was having issues with, she was vomiting and stuff. And I took her to the ER and they tested her again. And she was still negative.
Did the baby ever tested positive for COVID-19?
Never. She has
Wow.
never tested positive.
This is amazing. This little girl was determined and destined to make it through unscathed, no matter what. Oh, she's a fighter, that one.
Yes, she is a fighter. My girl is a fighter. She went through a lot. She's still going through a lot.
Mhm.
And
And
she's
so are
fighting.
you.
You are a fighter too, Emmy. I guess she got it from her mama. And the things you've gone through since you got pregnant. It's just insane.
Pregnancy
Well,
itself is traumatizing. And to add all of these other issues and things happening, I mean, I can only imagine what that does to you.
I tell you, I didn't think I had it in me.
Wow.
Because I've always considered myself weak because,
Mm.
I cry when I get emotional and stuff.
That's a mistake that people make sometimes, thinking because you cry, you're weak. It's not true. Crying is not a sign of weakness. Crying might be a sign of frustration, pain, anger, rage, even, but not weakness.
It
That's
is a
what I thought.
mistake.
I didn't think I had it in me. I have gone through some things and I survived a lot of these things.
You sure did. You survived.
I realize I have a lot of strength in me.
Good, because you are a strong and powerful woman. So, how is everything going right now? And how old is the baby?
The baby is 5 months old now, going through her little milestones one at a time.
That's awesome. And how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm not going to say completely good because she has the acid reflux that she's dealing with. It's taking a toll on me. Still stressed a lot. It's a battle that we're going to win.
Yes, indeed.
So, Emmy, what can you tell other mothers who are going through this or who have tested positive for COVID-19 while they are pregnant? And can you tell them what helped and what did not help?
All I can say is prayer. Prayer help. I'm sorry. That's all I had.
I understand. I hear you.
That's all I had because all my help, everything was crumbled. Nothing went as planned. So I can't really give advice on what you can prepare for because I didn't even get to experience things normally, you know? So I just went with the program. Whatever was thrown at me, I had to deal with it.
So you said prayer helped. What did not help?
Right. What did not help?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the hospital.
The hospital didn't help.
I don't want to say the hospital didn't help. Hey, we're here. Me and my beautiful
I mean,
baby.
but they didn't though. I mean, I understand what you mean. They helped, but at the same time, they did not help.
They did not. My boyfriend keeps saying, you have to talk about your experience and our frustration, all that stuff. Because, after you had to stay at the hospital, they send you these surveys and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Boyfriend just kept waiting on this to express our frustration and what went wrong and everything. But I'm so taken with my baby and so busy. I just don't have it in me. It just feels like it just keeps taking me back to what's happening. I can understand how people went through labor. People just forget.
Mm-hmm.
I could guess that's how people just go back and have a baby right away after because they forget about the traumatic thing that they went through.
Mm-hmm.
Because for some reason, I think I kind of blocked out all the stuff that I went through.
All the trauma.
Because it was just the other day. I just went back to work and I was explaining to my coworker what happened, what I went through. And I just started crying. I just felt like the whole thing came back. I forgot about this, and me, if I have to go back to the hospital and try to talk about what I've gone through with them, I just felt like I don't want to go through that trauma again. They're just going to make me mad because I'm sure they're just going to be defensive and kind of explain things away and kind of defend certain things. And it's just going to make me mad. I don't want to bother.
Completely understandable. However, I do encourage you to let them know how you and your baby were treated while you were there. It doesn't have to be now, and it could be months from now, because they should know how much harm and pain that they have caused you and your baby, which is completely unacceptable.
Wow.
Emmy, it's been such a harrowing experience you've had. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I know that you have a lot going on and you are very busy taking care of that precious little girl, that little fighter.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She is teething and she is doing her thing right now. So I'm just going to go back and take care of her.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you talking to me today. I definitely know that some people will benefit from hearing your experience
And
at least get them prepared and to know what to expect.
Yeah, exactly. And if they are COVID-19, how they're showing how these heroic things that once you get to the hospital, you're taken care of, for people to be prepared and start to think, if I go to the hospital with the COVID-19 diagnosis, it might not be the same treatment. So just get ready for that.
Well,
Emmy, thank you so much for talking to me today. I really appreciate that you took the time out of your busy schedule to talk to me.
and I wish you good luck and may
Thank you.
the power of the universe and the world, everybody, bestow some blessings upon you and your beautiful child.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Okay, you're
Bye.
welcome. Bye-bye.
At this time, I'd like to encourage all of my listeners to leave a review of this episode and our podcast on iTunes/Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn plus Alexa, or wherever you are listening to your podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please leave a review or comment about your pregnancy stories, because you might even hear your reviews and or your stories on the air. So please join us.